What if the maps you trust rewired wars, borders, and cities? Tonight, we chase famous charts that confidently pointed to places that never existed. One map grew Europe and shrank Africa. Another made California an island. A forged briefcase map diverted Nazi divisions, while real troops sailed elsewhere. A beautiful subway diagram lied on purpose, and millions thanked it daily. Phantom mountains, missing islands, and a line that split the planet in two. If drawings move armies and investors, what can they do to you? Stay, and you'll see how tiny cartographic choices reshaped colossal decisions. This is the story of maps that lied, plus the real consequences they triggered. Mercator world map that supersized Europe and shrunk Africa. Classrooms taught a warped world with power hiding in proportions. Gerardus Mercator's cylindrical projection enlarged Europe and shrank Africa dramatically. It came from navigation needs, preserving angles for straight-line bearings. But area got sacrificed, turning Greenland into a false giant. Textbooks, atlases, and globes reinforced those skewed mental maps. Activists later popularized Peters, chasing fairness with stretched shapes. Even now, web maps switch projections, balancing accuracy, aesthetics, and politics. Ask yourself, whose continents look bigger when kids first learn geography? A simple design choice shaped curiosity, pride, and imagined distances. Treaty of Tordesillas line that carved up unknown worlds. A single line redrew futures, splitting oceans neither side understood. Spain and Portugal negotiated at Tordesillas, dividing non-European worlds by longitude. Cartographers guessed the Earth's size, misplacing meridians across blank seas. Sailors later found Brazil lying east, conveniently inside Portugal's slice. To the west, Spain claimed vast Americas anchored by new capitals. Indigenous nations weren't consulted. Their maps weren't invited to negotiations. The follow-up Zaragoza deal mirrored it eastward, juggling spice-rich islands. Lines on paper became forts, flags, missionaries, and court cases. Guesswork plus ink turned uncertainty into centuries of confident borders. Toscanelli's map shrunk Earth, misleading Columbus across the Atlantic. A mismeasured Earth launched ships, shrinking oceans inside Columbus's head. Paolo Toscanelli's sketch blended Marco Polo's Asia with optimistic math. He shrank the globe and ballooned Asia's width across maps. Christopher Columbus carried copies, pitching shorter routes to Spanish monarchs. He met Caribbean islands instead, believing Cipango and Cathay were nearby. Crew rumors, changing winds, and calculations collided with real coastlines. Maps kept relabeling places, while Columbus insisted Asia sat just west. Europe learned new continents accidentally, tucked behind wishful arithmetic. A math error turned into ports, plantations, and a permanent Atlantic world. Waldseemüller map named America, a cartographer's branding that stuck. One word on a map branded two continents for 5 centuries. Martin Waldseemüller printed America, honoring Amerigo Vespucci's reported voyages. He thought Vespucci recognized a new world, separate from Asia. That label stuck, even after geography clarified complex continental shapes. A single woodcut sheet multiplied everywhere, traveling in scholars' libraries. Later editors hedged or removed the name. Readers kept saying it. Vespucci, Columbus, and Cabot competed posthumously across classroom walls. The printing press made branding faster than any royal decree. Cartography became marketing, and marketing quietly renamed half Earth. Piri Reis Maps' Antarctica claims captivated believers. A fragmentary Ottoman chart sparked centuries of wild Antarctica claims. Admiral Piri Reis compiled Portuguese sources onto gazelle skin parchment. It showed Atlantic coasts surprisingly well for early 16th century Istanbul. Later readers imagined ice-free Antarctica, misreading South American edges. Historians debunked that. The outlines match Brazil and Patagonia better. Rees mentioned captured charts, pilots, and a Columbus copy. His map's survival is partial, tempting speculation to fill gaps. The real story is synthesis, not secret prehistoric surveying. Patchwork intelligence created accuracy, while myth-making grabbed the headlines. London Underground diagram's beautiful lie that changed navigation forever. A not-to-scale diagram taught Londoners to move like locals. Harry Beck's underground redesign ignored geography, focused on connections and clarity. Stations stretched apart evenly, rivers bent obediently, and corners snapped. Passengers trusted it instantly, because legibility beat literal street distances. Tourists could finally navigate interchanges without wrestling a sprawling city. The map lied helpfully, saving minutes while hiding surface relationships. Designers worldwide copied the approach, from metros to airline diagrams. Debates followed about distortions south of the river and accessibility. Clarity won riders, reminding us accuracy isn't always the point. Vignelli's 1972 New York subway map distorted yet defined the city. New Yorkers got a gorgeous diagram that confused daily street sense. Massimo Vignelli pushed geometry, turning parks into tan rectangles deliberately. Water became gray, Manhattan straightened, and Central Park looked squat. Riders complained about misleading distances between stations above ground. The MTA replaced it, yet designers still studied its clarity. Downtown tourists misjudged walking times, chasing tidy rectangles over reality. Decades later, hybrid designs compromise, blending schematics with neighborhood geography. Vignelli returned with a digital version, accepted mainly by aficionados. Beauty met backlash. The argument still teaches every mapping class. Gerrymander's salamander map that twisted democracy. In 1812, Massachusetts, one contorted district birthed a word still reshaping American elections. Governor Elbridge Gerry approved Massachusetts lines resembling a mythical salamander. Newspapers sketched the creature, mocking partisan cartography gone predatory. Votes clustered cleverly, flipping outcomes without changing a single voter. The tactic spread nationwide, powered by demographic data and software. Court challenges followed, arguing fairness, minority rights, and community cohesion. Map lines became battlegrounds as important as candidates themselves. The original joke drawing outlived its cartoonists and still bites. A salamander showed how geometry can silently tilt political power. Operation Mincemeat's fake invasion maps that fooled Hitler's high command. A dead man's pocket litter redirected Nazi divisions away from Sicily. British officers Ewan Montagu and Charles Cholmondeley built the deception. They dressed Glyndŵr Michael's corpse as Major William Martin, Royal Marines. Briefcase papers suggested Greece and Sardinia, supported by bogus maps. Spanish authorities found the body. German intelligence read the documents. Hitler redirected attention, while Allied ships sailed for Sicily. The invasion began under cover of paperwork, not just darkness. Later memoirs revealed meticulous staging down to theater ticket stubs. A forged map note outperformed bombs by moving enemy eyes. Operation Fortitude's Phantom Army maps misled Nazis about D-Day. An imaginary army pinned Nazi forces while Normandy gathered strength. Operation Fortitude built ghost divisions around General George Patton. Inflatable tanks, fake radio traffic, and maps pointed to Pas-de-Calais. Double agents like Juan Pujol passed details Germans desperately wanted. Recon photos confirmed decoys, reinforcing Hitler's fixation on Calais. Even after D-Day, German High Command hesitated to redeploy reserves. Deception planning rivaled invasion logistics, synchronizing secrets and signals. Maps lied loudly, keeping the real beachhead quieter for longer. A phantom First Army group bought precious weeks across France. The Vinland map hoax that rewrote Viking America. A glamorous parchment promised Vikings in America, then unraveled publicly. The Vinland map surfaced with Icelandic sagas conveniently illustrated. Yale acquired it. Chemists later flagged modern ink compounds. Historians sparred on provenance, marginalia, and suspicious wormholes. Excitement faded as testing pointed toward 20th century forgery. Real Norse evidence remained at Lonso Meadows in Newfoundland. The hoax still toured lectures, selling wonder more than truth. It reminded museums that charismatic artifacts demand harsher scrutiny. Sometimes the best map story is the careful debunking. Medieval Mappa Mundi, putting Jerusalem at the literal world center. Pilgrims read theology as geography, with Jerusalem crowned at center. The Hereford Mappa Mundi mixed Bible scenes with distant creatures. East sat upward, Eden floated, and Rome shared crowded margins. These weren't sailing charts, they were encyclopedias on vellum. Monks copied legends from Pliny alongside routes pilgrims might follow. Kingdoms appeared as ideas, not surveyed parcels with coordinates. Travelers still navigated by memory, stars, and practical portalins. Viewers today misread them as wrong. They're genres, not mistakes. They mapped salvation history, not mileage, and made meaning portable. Ptolemy's landlocked Indian Ocean, blocking sea routes for centuries. Ancient authorities sealed sea routes by mistake, bottling the Indian Ocean. Claudius Ptolemy's model closed the south with imagined land. Medieval and Islamic scholars adapted it, weighing text against travelers. Arab navigators already knew monsoon routes across the open ocean. European engravers kept copying the barrier centuries after sailors contradicted it. The Cape remained hypothetical until Portuguese voyages rounded Africa. Printed authority outlasted observation because prestige beats eyewitness notes. When maps finally opened it, spice routes rewired global power. A textbook diagram held doors shut until sailors kicked through. Mountains of Kong, the African range that never existed. Investors and explorers chased a mountain range that never existed. European maps drew the mountains of Kong across West Africa. The line helped organize expeditions, treaties, and speculative trading routes. Sources mixed traveler rumors with river guesses from Mungo Park. Cartographers connected dots confidently, then copied each other for decades. Field surveys later reported gaps, swamps, and ordinary hills instead. Publishers hesitated to erase them. Erasing meant admitting old errors. Eventually, the range vanished quietly, leaving embarrassed atlases behind. Imaginary mountains still shaped real contracts, routes, and risky journeys. Island of California, a century-long cartographic mistake of empire. Sailors circled a peninsula because Europe believed California was islanded. 17th century Spanish charts split Baja from mainland North America. Romances about Amazons and pearls flavored the geographic misunderstanding. Explorers like Ulloa and Kino later argued for a peninsula. Yet engraved atlases kept repeating the island, sail after sail. Merchants planned routes accordingly, fearing non-existent straits and detours. Eventually, royal orders and surveys pressed printers to correct engravings. The long error shows momentum can outmuscle first-hand coastal reports. Paper coastlines proved stickier than the real, dusty shoreline. Sea of the West, Phantom Pacific Inland Ocean, on French maps. French readers admired a huge inland sea that never existed. Cartographers like Delisle and Bouache sketched a Pacific Sea inside. They stitched rumors from traders, natives, and hopeful Jesuit reports. The shorelines promised easy passages toward Chinese and Japanese markets. Explorers searched river mouths, imagining shortcuts through mountains and plains. Later voyages found bays, sounds, and then a stubborn continent. Publishers shaded the sea lighter, then eventually erased it completely. But the promise financed ships, salaries, and long coastal surveys. Profitable imagination steered budgets long before evidence finally docked. The Great River of the West that never reached the sea. Maps showcased a grand river that stitched continents conveniently together. The River of the West supposedly ran from Rockies to Pacific. French and British traders hoped for canoe routes to Asia. They misread descriptions of Colombia, Saskatchewan, and interior portages. Expeditions chased the corridor, frustrated by waterfalls and divides. Maps kept a dashed line, promising connection where cliffs waited. Lewis and Clark later mapped realities, trading hope for portage plans. The fantasy persisted in sales offices long after field journals. Commerce loved the map more than the landscape loved canoes. High Brazil, phantom island west of Ireland that lured sailors. Sailors swore an island shimmered west of Ireland, then vanished. High Brazil appeared as a round disk on early Atlantic charts. Fishermen told stories of fog, lights, and forbidden approaches. Cartographers copied the dot faithfully, moving it when reports changed. Expeditions returned empty-handed, bringing only weather and legends. Some linked it to real rocks, others to mirages and banks. By modern surveys, the circle faded from charts and conversation, but storytellers kept it alive, a hopeful target beyond horizon. A missing island still pulled ships, like a magnet made of rumor. Friesland, North Atlantic island that haunted European charts for centuries. North Atlantic captains hunted an island Mercator drew confidently. Friesland sat south of Iceland on the Zeno-inspired tradition. It sprouted towns, capes, and harbors across multiple grand atlases. Dutch pilots sometimes reported landfalls, others found only storm lines. As surveys improved, Friesland migrated, shrank, then quietly disappeared. The source likely blended pharaoh features with generous imagination. Publishers hesitated because deletion means publicly confessing expensive wrong engravings. Eventually, Iceland stood alone, and sailors trusted newer charts. A prestige atlas can bless fiction as stubbornly as scripture. Antilla, the Isle of Seven Cities, mapped from myth. Portuguese princes chased a sanctuary island promised by medieval rumors. Antillia, the Isle of Seven Cities, hovered west of Iberia. It supposedly sheltered refugees from Muslim conquests, founding bishop-led towns. Portolan charts drew rectangles, labeling ports with hopeful Latin notes. Explorers sailed into fogs, returning with currents, birds, and guesses. As Azores and Madeira fixed positions, Antillia edged further west. Columbus read those legends, absorbing compass lore and island names. The rectangle finally overlapped real archipelagos, then vanished from plates. Even phantom ports can steer fleets when hope outruns measurement. Crockerland, Arctic mirage that sent explorers on a wild chase. An island promise drew men north, only to deliver shimmering air. Robert Peary reported Crockerland beyond Ellesmere during an Arctic push. In 1913, Donald Macmillan led a search from Etah, Greenland. Companion Fitzhugh Green reported distant land, likely a Fata Morgana mirage. The party marched days toward a horizon that kept receding west. Navigational readings, shifting light, and ice pressure confused distances and bearings. Financing hinged on discovery, while Inuit guides warned of optical tricks. Later aerial surveys and satellite imagery confirmed nothing solid existed there. A horizon ghost burned money, time, and reputations in biting winds. Sannikov Land, phantom Arctic island Russians searched for in vain. Explorers chased a disappearing beach across fog and breaking floes. Yakov Sanikov reported land north of New Siberian Islands in 1811. Baron Eduard Toll later mounted an expedition, chasing that rumor hard. His ship Zaria battled pack ice, then wintered among drifting floes. Vole and companions sledged onward, seeking cliffs glimpsed between shifting leads. Storms closed passages, supplies thinned. The party never returned home. Later icebreakers and aircraft mapped only sea, shoals, and moving ice. Scientists blame mirages, sediment banks, or eroded islands swallowed by sea. A rumor proved resilient. The Arctic kept its final word. Lake Perimi and El Dorado, non-existent golden city on colonial maps. Treasure hunters marched inland, chasing a gleaming lake and city. Early Spanish and English chronicles placed Lake Perimi in Guyana. Sir Walter Raleigh fed the legend with reports and hopes. Mapmakers sketched a vast lake anchoring Manoa, the golden El Dorado. Expeditions found rivers, rapids, and floodplains that mimicked seasonal lakes. Indigenous guides described shifting waters, misread as permanent inland seas. Geological surveys later found no true lake matching grand drawings. Yet for centuries, contracts, grants, and wars leaned on that cartography. The jungle kept silver secrets. The maps kept selling dreams. Prester John's wandering kingdom misplaced across Africa and Asia. Medieval Europe hunted a Christian ally that cartographers kept relocating. Prester John's kingdom first sat in Asia, then wandered into Ethiopia. Letters, legends, and crusader hopes hardened into labeled map territories. Travelers like Marco Polo spread rumors that printers eagerly stabilized. Ethiopian emperors later fielded envoys, complicating identifications and expectations. Jesuits, traders, and diplomats argued geography against scripture and rumor. Eventually, scholars untangled conflated rulers, monasteries, and translated place names. The label faded, but its arrows had already steered policy. A phantom monarch ruled margins by occupying European imagination. Terra Australis Incognita, imaginary southern continent, driving exploration. A ghost continent stretched wide, balancing northern land in theory. From Ptolemaic ideas to Renaissance engravings, printers shaded vast southlands. Geographers argued symmetry. Big northlands required southern counterweights. Dutch and Spanish voyages nibbled coasts, confusing islands with edges. James Cook later crossed southern latitudes, finding ice-choked seas instead. Antarctica existed, but not the gigantic temperate paradise many envisioned. Trading companies still funded searches, expecting harbors and commodities awaiting flags. As charts improved, Terra Australis shrank, fragmenting into named archipelagos. The last shadows faded when reality finally outran symmetrical dreams. Strait of Anian, wishful channel separating Asia from America. A skinny shortcut haunted maps, promising Asia just beyond Alaska. The Strait of Anian appeared on 16th-century Venetian and Spanish charts. Some linked it to Chinese rumors, others to misread northern bays. Explorers probed inlets from Pacific coasts, chasing wind through fjords. Ice, tides, and cliffs kept refusing the advertised transcontinental corridor. Vitus Bering later confirmed separation, but no easy inland passage. Mapmakers hedged with dashed lines, keeping investors hopeful and funding steady. The name lingered, eventually merging into broader Northwest Passage ambitions. A label outlived evidence, because hope polishes every empty channel. Northwest Passage fantasy maps that trapped generations of explorers. A promised sea lane lured ships into Arctic winters repeatedly. Martin Frobisher, John Franklin, and Roald Amundsen chased the same corridor. Early maps erased ice seasons, replacing hazards with welcoming blue. Barrow's Admiralty pushed expeditions, stacking provisions, coal, and specialized ships. Franklin's crews vanished, while Inuit testimony preserved fragments and routes. Amundsen finally threaded shallows by sloop, proving passage with patience. Commerce still preferred Panama and later canals over seasonal Arctic windows. Satellite charts now show multi-year ice thinning, yet navigation remains perilous. Dreamy cartography met climate reality, and reality kept the logbook. Great American Desert label that delayed settlement of the plains. A scary label on maps turned grasslands into psychological no-go zones. 19th century surveyors marked the Great Plains as the Great American Desert. Reports by Stephen Long emphasized treeless expanses and scarce surface water. Emigrants steered toward Oregon and California, avoiding prairie interior routes. Later railroads reframed the region as opportunity, not desolation or waste. Homestead Acts, barbed wire, and windmills rewrote earlier cautionary captions. Rainier decades misled farmers, until drought punished those optimistic brochures. The nickname faded, but its detour reshaped migration and settlement timing. A scary legend vanished, replaced by wheat lines and township grids. Rain follows the plow railroad maps misleading homesteaders about climate. Posters promised weather would improve simply because settlers arrived. The rain follows the plow theory claimed cultivation increased prairie rainfall naturally. Boosters, railroads, and land agents printed persuasive climate-colored maps. Wet years in the 1870s conveniently supported upbeat precipitation claims. Families built sod houses, planted wheat, and mortgaged dreams to seasons. Then, drought returned, revealing science by brochure and fragile monocultures beneath. Dust storms later underlined limits, despite tractors, wells, and township grids. Meteorologists finally rejected causal claims. Ocean patterns explained rain cycles. A slogan wrote checks that weather refused to cash. The Mitchell map errors that provoked the Aroostook border war. A respected map pushed two nations toward a lumberjack standoff. John Mitchell's 1755 map underpinned treaty language about Maine's boundary. Ambiguous river sources and highlands descriptions collided with rugged reality. American and British surveyors waved competing copies and different compass readings. Timber crews and militias arrested each other across snowy logging camps. Governors demanded troops. Newspapers shouted. Nobody wanted actual battlefield casualties. Daniel Webster and Lord Ashburton eventually negotiated lines through St. John. The compromise eased tensions, leaving Mitchell's prestige slightly scuffed. A handsome wall map nearly turned pines into bayonets for politicians. Toledo Strip boundary map mistake that reshaped two American states. A surveying miss sparked the almost war between Michigan and Ohio. Competing maps placed the Maumee Bay line north or south. Militias mustered in 1835, mostly trading arrests and threats, not bullets. Congress needed calm, promising Michigan statehood if it ceded the Strip. Michigan accepted, reluctantly, receiving the Upper Peninsula as consolation territory. That trade later proved valuable, with copper, iron, and forests. Cartographic error became economic pivot despite bruised state pride. Locals still joke about boundary markers and vanished territorial bravado. A bayline squabble rearranged futures far beyond a swampy corner. Verrazano's Aegean Sea splitting North America on Renaissance maps. One misread coastline turned Carolina Sounds into a transcontinental sea. In 1524, Giovanni da Verrazzano sketched a narrow American isthmus. He likely mistook Pamlico and Albemarle waters for ocean channels. European engravers exaggerated the gap, printing an inland sea east-west. Merchants celebrated, expecting shortcuts from Atlantic harbors to Asian markets. Later Spanish and English voyages found barrier islands hiding shallow lagoons. Corrections trickled slowly. Beautiful errors always outpace dull footnotes. By the 1600s, atlases healed the coast into continuous land. A moment's perspective problem multiplied into decades of persuasive, wishful ink. Zeno maps phantom islands that misled navigators of the Atlantic. A late Renaissance map sprinkled non-existing islands across cold seas. The Zeno narrative described voyages to Estotiland, Frisland, and Icaria. Historians suspect composite tales or outright fabrication by Niccolo Zeno. Still, major printers copied the islands, giving captains false waypoints. Some reported shadows, fog banks, or whales interpreted as distant headlands. Others simply found empty latitudes where ports should have appeared. Gradually, improved longitude methods and surveys erased those decorative mistakes. Yet the map's authority haunted charts generations beyond its credibility. A family story became reefs of ink for unlucky pilots. Here be dragons, sea monsters marketing danger more than mapping reality. Tentacles and serpents sold caution on maps more than facts. Olaus Magnus's Carta Marina famously paraded whales and writhing creatures. Publishers decorated unknown waters, warning sailors while filling blank spaces. Monsters doubled as illustrations of hazards like shoals, storms, or ice. Swords swapped stories in ports. Engravers translated gossip into iconography. Insurance rates, not dragons, actually set risk calculations for voyages. As hydrography advanced, creatures retreated, leaving soundings and coastal outlines. Still, the imagery stuck, coloring myths about medieval navigation incompetence. The scariest beasts were margins where ignorance met entrepreneurial engraving. Agloe, New York. Copyright trap. Paper town that became real. A fake hamlet accidentally materialized because maps told drivers so. Cartographers created Agloe as a copyright trap against plagiarists. A local store adopted the name, anchoring it in reality. When another map showed Agloe, lawsuits tested who invented geography. Judges weighed whether a real business transformed fiction into fact. Eventually, the hamlet faded, but the cautionary tale survived. Digital maps still inherit quirks from older datasets and editors. Users now geotag places faster than courts can define them. Mapping sometimes manufactures destinations, then argues they genuinely exist. Google Maps border error that sparked a real diplomatic crisis. A digital border glitch sent soldiers across a disputed wetland. In 2010, Nicaraguan forces entered Costa Rican territory near Isla Portillos. Commanders reportedly referenced online maps that misplaced the river boundary. San Jose protested internationally. Managua defended positions and historic claims. Satellite imagery and treaties were reviewed by regional and global bodies. Tech companies updated overlays while diplomats traded notes and accusations. The Organization of American States urged withdrawal to calm tensions. A tiny cartographic slip threatened a very non-virtual confrontation. Pixels moved, and suddenly boots did too, proving maps still matter. Zaragoza anti-meridian that misdealt Asia's spice islands between empires. A follow-up treaty extended the world's dividing line into Asia. Spain and Portugal negotiated Zaragoza in 1529, pricing the Moluccas carefully. Cartographers estimated longitudes with errors larger than many archipelagos. Merchants eyed cloves, nutmeg, and mace, while diplomats inked boundaries. The anti-meridian aimed to complement Tordesillas, supposedly clarifying spheres. In practice, navigators juggled licenses, flags, and overlapping royal monopolies. Later Dutch expansion reordered control regardless of elegant treaty geometry. Mariners kept sailing where profits beckoned, not where lines dictated. Misplaced degrees showed empires gambling with numbers nobody could measure. Sandy Island, phantom South Pacific island erased in 2012. A black polygon on charts vanished when a ship sailed through. Sandy Island appeared between Australia and New Caledonia on global datasets. In 2012, The RV Southern Surveyor found only deep blue water. The entry likely traced back to old misreadings or transcription errors. Mariners removed the feature, while headlines enjoyed the disappearing act. Satellite composites sometimes accepted artifacts. Verification lagged behind publication. Hydrographers updated nautical charts, trimming ghosts from the Coral Sea. Classroom atlases and digital maps quietly patched their embarrassing gap. An elegant nothing reminded everyone to ground truth convenient pixels. Bermeja, missing Gulf island that warped Mexico's maritime claims. An old Spanish-labeled islet vanished where oil boundaries mattered most. Bermeja appeared on colonial charts in the Gulf of Mexico. Modern surveys failed to locate it, despite coordinates and depth checks. Some speculated subsidence or storms. Others whispered conspiracies without evidence. Legal teams recalculated exclusive zones, adjusting lines without the islet. Lawmakers demanded answers. Oceanographers returned with negative results, again. The case showed archival maps colliding with resource-era geopolitics. Whether erosion or error, the absent rock still shaped negotiations. A red-tinted name lingered, even after the sea said no.